wanted to talk about an undervalued thing about Child, which isn't going to apply to everybody, obviously, because constellations are a very expensive thing for rolling on a banner. But this particular constellation isn't very well worded, so maybe that's why people haven't really talked about it much. But it says that if Tartaglia is in his melee form and he triggers a Riptide Slash against an opponent on the field affected by Riptide every 4 seconds. That's not how this necessarily works. Essentially, if you put Riptide on an enemy in any way, be the ultimate in ranged form, or the melee form critical hits, or even with the charged bow range shot, every 4 seconds that enemy is going to be affected by Riptide. And that's kind of makes Tartaglia a very strong support in any type of like vaporized comp or any comp really. This is going to apply hydro to an enemy 4 times every 4 seconds. It's kind of crazy. I'm gonna show it off right here, and then I've got a video of a domain run with a pretty interesting team, I think. Um, without really only has Diona as a standard support, and then it's Lee, Tartaglia, and Diluc. And it's just kind of crazy what you can do by putting the mark on all the enemies and then just switching to a pyro and just going to town with that vaporize. And it's not as good if you're using pyro to set off the vaporize as vice versa, but with the way the DPSs work in the game, with Klee and Diluc being some of the strongest, it still works very, very well. Um, there aren't a ton of great single target hydro DPSs. Obviously, you've got Mona, you've got Tartaglia, but I think Tartaglia thrives in more of a group situation than a 1v1 situation. If he's in a 1v1 situation, he really relies on elemental reactions to carry a lot of that damage, and the fact that he can proc it over and over again very quickly. But real quick, I'll show off what I mean by this. So, charge bow shot. It's gonna put the mark on him, and you're gonna see boom, ticks. That's gonna cause it. Ticks. Go too far away there. All right, so there you go. You've got 4 ticks that are gonna apply hydro to this guy here. It's tough because he walks so far away. Wish I could show that. I'll get closer to him so we can just show that it keeps it on that whole time. Like it'll, even if the hydro falls off, it'll re-proc it. And this is just huge for somebody like Klee who can just sit there and just keep vaporizing every time it comes back up. So yeah, you see the hydro just stays on him the whole entire time. And we'll kill him off before we do the video here. So might as well just put him on the ground, make it real easy. Oh, he didn't fall onto the ground, but Leah just destroy him. And you just see it's just gonna keep proccing that vaporize because he's just gonna keep getting the water effect on him. And just goes so fast. It does so much damage to him. It adds so much value for Klee's damage, and I think it works well with even if you don't have him C6, so you can keep resetting his melee form. Works really well when Child doesn't have his melee form, where he can just shoot somebody with a bow, or he goes in with his melee form, puts a mark on 4-5 enemies, as many as around, and then you switch to somebody like Klee or Diluc and just keep proccing all those vaporizes. You can even been messing around with some cryo stuff so you can freeze them and get some melt procs and destroy them with that. It's just really strong. And I'll just show off a run that I did earlier, testing out, like I was saying, Diona, Diluc, Lee, and Tartaglia. And it just kind of really shows how you can keep that hydro on an enemy, switch to a pyro DPS, and just go to town on it, which works really, really well with the fact that Tartaglia's got a lot of downtime um, with his E form, depending on how long you stay in it, obviously. So here you see first thing gets marked. The other big thing is, let's stop this real quick. Pull this up, and we'll do that so Klee stops talking to us while we're watching the video. Um, so yeah, so the marks on him, you're gonna be able to keep proccing the vaporize, and when that enemy dies with the mark, it spreads it to these two enemies who now have it. So now I can keep proccing vaporize here, and it just becomes a chain at that point. Like you could switch to Tartaglia, but if you've got the vape procs on him already, it's not as much of a big deal. As you see, it's still on this guy. It just comes off now. I think I end up just putting it back on and going back. Essentially, at this point, it's over. It's just a very strong combination, and it lasts for a very long time. It procs 4 times, so that's 16 seconds of uptime there for him, which works really well when he's got that long cooldown. I do show off the gear, which isn't a huge thing here. Pretty much Tartaglia and Klee have my best gear that I farm for when I hit 45. I've been trying to get Diluc finished as well, but that domain has not been nice to me. So it's been very tough to find anything there. Um, I really do want to keep messing around with different things with Tartaglia being like kind of a more supportive character when his burst is down because I think there's some really cool things that can be done. He really breaks the mold for the typical team comp. Like this one here doesn't really have CC, but it can burn things down so fast with these elemental reactions. And Diona works really well with. I've got her the max constellation when I went for Child there. Got a ton of Dionas, but it's gonna give me elemental mastery, which is just gonna make those vaporize and melt procs even more potent. Um, so it's just doesn't have real traditional CC, but it burns things down very quickly. It's got good AoE with Tartaglia and the bombs from Klee, and just very strong setup. So just let this run out here, showing off the last of the talents and gear and stuff. Probably gonna be posting some more stuff when I mess around with some more comps because I find it a lot of fun to kind of see these different comps and how they work together and kind of the different play styles that go along with it because depending on the content, that's really what what the best comp is, right? Like what you're fighting against is gonna make that difference. Um, so I find it fun to just mess around with these different domains and try different teams out because you find some surprising things there. Um, but yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. Thanks for watching.